You still have 1 minute.
Oh,
They record before I forget.
okay.
Definitely not done so far.
All right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So yay.
And I show it is now 6 o'clock.
All right, well, I guess we'll call this meeting to order. All right, roll call
Bob Wilkerson,
here.
Terry Arcieri. He is online. Jeff Terry
Here.
and Brad Carver.
Okay. Approval of the meeting minutes for November 20th. Everyone's had a chance to review them, I assume?
Yep, I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes November 20th.
Okay, so who gets to second it? I think we should let.
I'll
Brad-
second it.
Terry, okay.
Yeah.
All right, so all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Minutes approved. And let's see, do we have any changes to the agenda by anybody?
None for me.
Okay, hearing none, we're gonna say the agenda is okay as it is.
Or to make a motion.
Okay, go ahead.
I'll make a motion to approve the tonight's agenda.
All right, Brad, are you gonna second?
Sure.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. The agenda is approved. Anybody got any conflicts of interest?
No.
Okay, hearing none. Our next meeting is the 22nd of January, which is the fourth Monday.
Because Martin Luther King Jr. Day.
So you guys have your mandated holiday. Okay, no problem. I think we can do that. All right, so committee / staff updates. Staff?
I'll go first because Kelly's sick. I'll cover what she is gonna cover. Basically. Bad news, good news. I'll start with bad news. Mac had to resign. If you saw my email this morning. And his term expired next month anyway, so he's just not reapplying. And since he wasn't able to make it tonight, he resigned effective immediately. So that does open up a spot in District 1. This morning, the Board of County Commissioners did say that they're gonna interview someone from District 3, I believe, when I looked it up. So that is good. And then the next thing was, I remember Tim Opilia has been absent 3 times without being excused. Therefore, we are going to ask the board or ask our chairperson, once we decide who that is, to ask the Board of County Commissioners for his resignation.
So the planning commissioners should do a motion.
Probably.
Yeah, to ask the chair to, or to direct the chair to ask the big commissioners to ask Tim Ophelia to resign. I think that's what it says in the
That is
bylaws.
what the bylaws say.
Yeah,
That's what I was gonna ask the question. Is that what the bylaws? Okay.
yeah.
Then I'm comfortable making a motion.
Well, we gotta, we gotta go, I would say this, we have to go through the little
No problem.
minor tidbit of electing a new chair.
Oh, that part.
Then we can go on with the rest of the show.
And I do have a couple more updates to add to that. Were you done, Brian?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
The other thing, so comp plan work. So SCJ Alliance, they have been performing some work. So they have a public participation plan in draft form. They've started some work on the demographic information, and their transportation people have started some work on the transportation element yet. I don't have all those drafts yet. I had to check in with the consultant last week, and she did inform me they have been working on it, even though we're still working on our grant with Commerce. Commerce is almost done. with those, the grant for the periodic update and the climate portion that we'll be working on too. So that's a climate element. So I project that we will probably have a meeting, for our first meeting for the periodic, update. Most likely it's gonna be in February. The only way it would be in January is if we change the meeting date, and I don't know if we're gonna do that or not. So I will update you as soon as I have a conversation with our director and SCJ Alliance on that first date. So, but no later than February for our first comp plan meeting. And then short-term rentals. So we went back and talked with the county administrator, and he communicated with the commissioners about the short-term rentals. And the first meeting that we're going to have on that, the commissioners are going to take that, which actually that may be good for you guys. Because the survey so far, we have over 1,200 surveys. And the closing date for that survey is not till January 12th. So I project getting a lot more. So we have to filter through that and compile that information in a quick way for everybody to kind of go through it and comprehend it all. So we'll do a first meeting with the commissioners, and they're going to look at those survey results, comments, look at some other jurisdictions and what they're doing. And then we'll compile something that is a little bit more directed for you guys, something that, what they want you to kind of focus on a little bit more, and the feedback from those surveys. So I think that'll be good for you guys. You won't have to experience the
We'll
first
let the
meeting.
guys do the filtering.
Yes, the initial filtering. So, and that will, that may be February as well. Their meetings are different than ours, of course, so we'll have to figure that out, but it's going to take a little bit of time to, especially with the January 12th closing, to compile all that and get it in a form that's going to be easy for everybody to go through. So, so those are just a few updates on those two projects that we will be working on this year. And then I'm all done with that.
Thank you. And now to other business, election of the chair. So does anybody want to be the chair?
I think you have to draw straws.
Okay, I volunteer. Anybody have an objection? Hearing none.
I think you would be a good chair.
All in favor of Bob Wilkerson being elected chair of the Planning Advisory Commission, please say aye.
Aye.
I,
Opposed? Okay, motion passes and I didn't vote.
Now we need a vice chair.
Yeah, thank you. Anybody want to be the vice chair?
I guess I can be, since I'm usually here.
All right.
I can, I'll take vice chair if you don't want to do it.
I can do it.
Okay, I'll
I'm
let you
usually
know.
here, so that
All right.
helps.
So Jeff wants to be the vice chair. Any objections? And anyone? Okay, hearing none. We'll go to the vote. All those in favor of Jeff being the vice chair, please say aye.
Aye.
I,
Opposed? Jeff, you're it.
Thank you.
Okay, now that we have a chair, which by the way, it's a month early, but who's counting? We discussed briefly Tim Ophelia's lack of attendance. Does the committee feel that we should have the chair recommend to the commissioners that Mr. Opelia be asked for his resignation by the commissioners?
I have one question first. Has there been any communication with Tim to the?
I spoke with Kel on Friday about that, and she said that she had reached out to him multiple times
Okay.
with no response. Maybe he's not checking his email, or he's moved on and the email's not bouncing. She did say that he had not been asking for excused absences. It was kind of like he's not there. And so I asked, well, could you, try to get a hold of him via phone, because he had, hopefully the phone
Right.
number's still good.
Right.
And do you guys,
I don't know for sure. I was out Friday and Kel is out sick today. But he hasn't responded to any of the emails
Okay.
I've sent in the last several months. And she did send an email as well, asking what's up. We have not received anything. That email does not bounce back to us, so we assume it's still good.
okay, so staff has made a very good faith effort at trying to contact Mr.
Right.
Ophelia.
And if you want, I can bring up the bylaw section if you would like to look at it.
I've got my copy,
But
basically 3 times.
yeah, that was my concern, as long as it's in the bylaws.
Well, yeah, and staff has made
Yeah,
a very concerted effort, so. With that said. Chair will entertain a motion to direct the chair to ask the county commissioners to ask Mr. Ophelia to tender his resignation.
yeah, you need a second from,
Yeah,
I'll make a second, I'll second that.
okay. Anybody have any comments, discussion, anything at all? Okay, hearing none, motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes, and I will send an email to the commissioners for the bylaws. All right, that takes care of our main business. On item 1. We don't have, actually, yeah, we do.
We have, well, if we would like to do public.
Anything to say, Will?
Get off and mute here. No, I have nothing to say at this time. I'll
Okay,
see how the commissioners respond, and I'm in District 1.
so did you submit your petition or application, whatever?
I'll wait until the commissioners make their decision.
Okay,
But that, it would be my intent to go ahead and apply.
So we now actually have 2 District 1 since Mac has,
so we have 2 vacancies. in
yes,
District
2 for
one.
District 1. Both Mac and Tim were on District 1. And the person that they're interviewing is District 3. So we're looking for someone from District 1 and District 2.
So
Can
there
you
is
clarify what District 1 is?
District 1 is North Mason, Belfair, Lake, Mason Lake, Timber Lakes, I believe is in there.
Okay,
No,
Not Timber Lakes, but Spencer Lake is.
Yeah, well, there's a boundary somewhere in there.
So question, so are we saying there is currently 1 vacancy, and if Mr. Ophelia is removed, there'll be 2 vacancies from District 1?
Correct.
Okay, that may make my decision easier because there's an existing vacancy. Thank you.
Well, there's gonna be 2 real soon. Okay. All right. Now we get to the fun stuff. Take it away, Mercy.
Okay, well, since Kel is not here tonight, we're gonna start out with the proposed amendment to Title 16, Chapter 16.40. And it's a particular section, it's 16.40.041 1A. And I'm just gonna go ahead and read because this is the first time I've seen this, and I'm taking over for her tonight since she's sick. So Mason County Planning Department brought forth a text amendment to Title 16 in that particular chapter that I mentioned in June of this year, along with other amendments. The amendment was approved by the Board of Commissioners on August 15th, and an ordinance 2023-045 attachment B. This proposed text amendment undoes. So this proposed text amendment undoes the amendment to that section. So she's proposing that we undo the amendment that was completed earlier this year. Subsequently, staff will review boundary line adjustment regulations in their entirety in both titles 16 and 17 and consider making recommended amendments at a future meeting. So she's basically asking for the changes that were made earlier in the year to get rid of those changes, go back, revert to what it was before. There was some issue with it, and she's planning on coming back with some recommended changes later, but she's requesting that we go ahead and revert back to the original wording.
Okay. And so we would need a motion to do that, to do the undo.
Yes, so
Okay.
also, I'm just gonna say it was exempt from SEPA. She noted that on the back of the staff report as well. It was advertised as well, per title 15.07.030. And yes, she's requesting the PAC and public review the proposed changes, provide any comments, and recommend approval to the BOCC.
Okay. So, Jeff, you want to do the honors?
I'll make a motion to approve the rescinding of that, basically that amendment, right?
Yes.
That's highlighted in our text here. Do I need to read it?
Yes, amendment to that particular section.
In section A? Okay, or the whole, okay, this is to 16.40.041 sub 1, section A. The amendment, you want me to read it as it was and then the amendment, or how do you?
Basically, the motion would probably say the Planning Advisory Commission moves to rescind the changes to section 16, blah, blah, blah.
.40.41, that's sub 1, sub A.
And when did we approve that revision?
It had to be prior if the BOC approved it in August. Was it June?
Okay, just say approximately June 2020.
Approximately June 2022 or 23?
20.
22, okay. Any further work?
I don't think we need any more, just plain and simple, just pretend it didn't happen, okay.
Right.
Seconded by Terry.
Well,
Yeah, I'll
first
second it.
question, I'll second it. If this whole motion is going to simply reinsert those 1, 2, 3, 4 words on page 3, the underlined red words, unless already legally non-conforming.
No,
All
that's,
you're reinserting those deleted words.
We're taking them out.
we're taking, the motion is to take them out. At this point, because there's a problem, apparently. With
Okay.
other code.
They're gonna be readdressed when Cal gets back.
I'll second it then.
All right, so it's been moved and seconded. Anyone have any further comment? Hearing none, we'll go to the vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next.
Okay. So then our second item on the agenda is the capital improvement program for the 2024 to 2029 period. So it's a 6-year financing plan for that period of time. And like I've talked about before, it's a separate section. The element and the CIP were combined before, and we've separated it now just for ease of updating. And hopefully adding more information in regards to the revenue and where those numbers are coming from, and what the projections are based on. And this is based off the information that I get from our financing department. And the other thing is, okay, so I don't know if everybody got it, but I actually sent you all an email around 5 o'clock because I was going through this.
Page 2 and page 4.
Yes, yeah, so I will bring that up here on the screen in a minute. So page 2 and 4, there is an error because I jumped ahead and put some information for REIT 1 that was for the period 2025 through 2030 instead of 2024 through 2029. So that will change our numbers. So I'm going to bring that up on the screen. So everybody can see that, and then I'm going to talk about one other particular thing here. 1 second.
Questions about that?
Figures.
Wasn't adding up in my mind.
We'll run your calculator.
Yeah.
So can everybody see that? On Zoom, okay. So before I get into those changes there, I just want to note for purposes of procedure. So I did issue a determination of non-significance for the SEPA on December 1st, and we had a comment period that closed on December 15th. We only received one comment, and that was from the PUD 3, which all of you should have gotten. Okay. So, and they were basically just commenting on some of the projects that Public Works would be initiating, you know, subject unless plan changes, of course, but so there was just some comments on there that I also forwarded to Public Works about coordinating when they start on some of those projects. The other thing, public notification. This meeting was published in the Journal on December 7th and 14th. And we didn't receive any other comments from the public on the draft so far. So, so then I sent you all an email kind of late. I started reading through that and some numbers weren't adding up to me either, even though I looked at it a million times. So on page, we'll go back to 2 here in a minute, but so page 4 here on table 1 with REIT funding. So your numbers for 2024, these are going to be different because I put 2025 here. Like I said, 2025, I had 2025 through 2030 when it should have been 2024 through 2029. So that did change our total for REIT 1. And of course, the total for the total revenue here as well. And of course here. And that will change that's going to change your total back on page 2 as well for that estimated total funding minus those funds that are dedicated to some fees and repayments and transfers. So that also changed your revenue composition table a little bit as well. So you'll see that change. So I'm just going to go through this really quickly and then entertain any questions you have. So before I sent you this draft, I indicated from our current adopted version of the capital facilities plan that when it comes to the capital improvement program, there was really only the worksheets and a small little table that said total revenue and total project costs with no real kind of breakdown or explanation. So this is really just an attempt to kind of break down the information from the financing department and where they're getting those projections, why they may be different for this planning period. And also looking at, when we look at the total revenue, we can't always say that that's always going to be, that amount's always going to be available just for projects planned for that period. There may be other reasons, or debts or fees or, different kind of financial obligations that they, take money out of REIT 1, 2, or the 0.09 sales tax every year. So we have to kind of minus that out and then look at what we're left. So this is an attempt at giving a better picture at the financial situation of these few funds. So REIT 1, 2, and the 0.09 sales tax. And also give an idea, with the 0.09 sales tax, that's not here forever. So when funding that we're used to for a while may go away. And so preparing us to think about that revenue going away and how it's going to look compared to all these projects that are being planned for the period as well. So, like I said, we had a section explaining a little bit about the revenue projections that come from the finance department, what they typically have been in the past. And of course, we have a weird, economic situation right now where we're making a lot more in the interest income than we
Right.
usually have.
Right.
Of course, that could change. So, but that is why some of our numbers, are a little bit higher than usual there because of that situation. And then this section also goes over a little bit of the funding that comes out of there regularly for different, various little things such as payments for services, professional services, auditing fees, project salaries and benefits that come out of there from those particular funds. And then there's some bond repayment for a few things that have been coming out of there for a while. And those have been just set for a while. So you have that with REIT 1 and you have that with REIT 2, and the 0.09 sales tax has had some regular things that come out of there too. And then a section that, I do, want to get your input on is after we look at that information from the tables, what do we need to highlight based on that information that we really, what the commissioners and what the departments really need to look at where there might be shortfalls and such. So, and then for this particular plan, and other people might have some suggestion as well, but definitely for REIT 2, there is a push to get the current sewer debt paid off pretty quick here in 2027. And to do that, they would have to take a lot from REIT 2. And to do that, 2025, 2026, and 2027, there's already additional funding needed unless they, might get rid of doing a project for parks and trails, because that's one thing I did ask the financing department is like, do we have a plan for how we're going to get that additional funding? And I don't think I didn't get a clear answer on that yet. So, but, it may be that, I guess it just depends on, none of this is 2025, 6, and 7. Those budgets haven't been approved yet, of course. So, though the commissioners will be reviewing that and deciding, what's going to be the most important thing. And, there might be some projects on the list that have had REIT 2 funding currently on this plan that, they'll weigh whether they get that funding still or we find another way to get that funding. And that seemed to be the biggest thing that stuck out is getting that debt paid off, because of course, additional extensions, if you saw the project worksheets, there's additional extensions of that sewer system planned, and facility expansion as well. The one thing that I wanted to note, because when I was looking at this table before coming in and then emailing you guys. The other thing that I wanted to note is that when you look at REIT 2 here as well, this also includes some reserve. So this 5598 right here, you know, this is not going to be all of that's not going to be available for projects because it's going to be pushed to 2025 as reserve. And, you know, that's kind of gearing up for helping to pay off that sewer debt and cover other projects. Usually it's the Parks and Trail program that's, you know, uses REIT 2. And sometimes it's more projects with the water and wastewater, but they're really trying to push for more of revenue from like grants and loans and rates. But see, that's going to be an important thing too, is that I wanted to know is that it's going to be really important for Public Works and their projects to be able to acquire the grant and loans that they're hoping to secure during 2025 on. So, but I just wanted to say, so we can't assume that for REIT 2 that all of this is available for projects, because some of it's pushed forward for reserve in 2025, 26, and 27 as well. And that might be something I should have noted in there too, because I don't want people to look at that table and think, oh, that there's 10,257,000 available when it's really some of it's being pushed and saved. So, so then we have our table 2, total of our project costs, and then the table 2.1 is really looking at, you know, this is what some of those projects have indicated as funding other than the REIT 1, 2, and the 0.09 sales tax. So, so utility rates, and then we have some unique funding from the ARPA, which of course is not going to be available for the whole planning period. We've got road fund, and that's because, so Public Works includes transportation facilities. They're not roads, not bridges, nothing like that. It's typically buildings that service the materials for those projects or equipment. So, or any maybe upgrades or renovations to Public Works itself. So that's coming from the road fund. And then grants and loans secured, but they're not so they're not included as part of revenue for REIT 1 and 2. And the Belfair wastewater reserve. So this total also includes what the financing department has already moved over for the reserve for the Belfair wastewater treatment fund. So, and then the rest of the document is really giving a little bit of a facility inventory for our different systems and facilities. Like I mentioned in the beginning of the chapter, a more in-depth inventory will be in the element when we get back to that later this year. And just providing a few more tables so it's a little bit clear what the total expenditures are for a particular system. So we have that for each one of the facilities and systems, and you have several pages of that. And then you have the worksheets for each facility or system, and these are from each department themselves. They provide this information, and these are the projects that they're planning for this 6-year period, and the cost and where they are planning to request funding from currently. So we already know the 2024 budget was adopted by the commissioners at the beginning of December. So that funding is already set. But 2025 through 2029, You know, grant loan funding can always be a mystery and can always change numbers and may require budget amendments, so. And then some projects drop off too, so, but this is currently our plan for the 6-year period. And so I'll stop with that and then entertain questions.
So this is the big wish list and it hasn't been prioritized
Yes,
and triage.
So can I ask, when do we find out if we were accepted for the grants or loans?
which particular ones?
Were
Are
they
you talking about the ones
2025 for
The
the
20
grants that we're applying for, or are they for $2025?
The ones for the 2025 through 2029 period.
Yeah,
So that would be, those are really Public Works telling me that they have, there are grants available from either ecology or commerce. There's different grant funding programs. So they already know of funding that they're going to apply for. Or, you know, like I said, next year it could change and they may request out of a different fund, but I know there are a few of them that they know that they will apply from the Department of Commerce and Ecology. And I did have the name of those, but I don't have them at the top of my head right now.
Next, can you entertain the next question? Or Terry, did that answer your question? I don't want to cut in.
well, I guess, I'm on the Department of Commerce email list, so I see when all their grants are rolled out. And, you know, I just wondered what our plan was. If we didn't get the grant, then we have to pay for those things from somewhere else. So, which she was saying was the reserve money. So if we do get the grants, does that release the reserves?
So the only reserve is for REAP 2, and that's basically for that Belfair wastewater, the debt. That's for the debt that was
Okay.
incurred for that first part. So that's not for any other projects or anything. That's just for the debt. So
Okay.
Okay, Brad.
Yeah, being that the wastewater is my expertise, I was concerned where those grants came from, which you answered the question, but are the Beards Cove and Russellwood aware of the Evergreen Rural Water Association and the National Rural Water Association gives out grants as well? Have they applied for grants from other organizations besides Commerce and what was the other one you said?
there's an ecology grant.
Yeah,
one,
you said,
too.
I was thinking it said EPA, but
Yeah, so when I had to sit down with Public Works, I didn't hear the ones you just mentioned. I didn't hear those. They may know of them, but they didn't mention them in their meeting as planning for those. So
because I don't know if you're aware of Mason County is lucky to have the Evergreen Rural Water Association covering the entire state of Washington. And they're right down by where the old library was, across from the airport. I don't know if you guys know about that. And I guess I wanted to ask if I could look at the numbers for those water plants, because not that I want to work, but I want to make sure that that they're not raped, pillaged, and burned by the companies that bid on them. So the money is not wasted.
Is that kind of outside the scope of the Planning Advisory Commission? Or you
Yeah,
could do
maybe.
that, I mean, as a personal thing, I guess.
I couldn't understand the last
It would,
sentence.
it would be more of communicating with public works because they oversee those projects.
I mean, you can always ask.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
Is these numbers here are pretty
Top level.
thumbnail, matchbook cover, and they seem quite
Big,
high especially on the 11 buildings. When you're just putting in a new window or an HVAC system or a heat pump, and you've got 80 grand budgeted. That's a ridiculously high price, in my opinion. And that's
this is top level stuff.
scientific.
I'm sure there's other
Yeah,
lower level details that are backed up.
yeah, but the
I guess they
finance
could always ask.
because it seems fraught with just these numbers seem fraught with a waste because the detail isn't there.
And you know, I mean, like Bob said, this is the CIP is a higher level overview. The details of where they got those numbers is gonna be each department, kind of, giving you a detailed outline of, of
That's
that information.
Um, Marissa, can you direct him to the appropriate,
I can, Brad, if if that is something you're interested in, I can give you the contact information for the systems or facilities that you're interested in knowing how they, where they're getting those specific numbers.
Yeah, because those are, particularly for, $1.8 million to Beards Cove. That's a pretty
So let
lot
me.
of damn money for the size of that facility. It's ridiculous. They have
I think, we need to economize our time here. If you
Yeah.
can point him in the right direction, and Brad can ask away and maybe tell us what you found out next time. Because
or I can summarize some things.
I'm sure we all could.
like I've been upgrading the Potlatch Beach Mutual Water Company, which is up here on Senator Sheldon's driveway. And so I think I went up and looked at the Department of Health Office of Drinking Water to compare the size of Russellwood and Beards Cove, and really we're comparable in size to Little Potlatch Beach. And so,
Well, I can connect you. It's probably gonna be Richard Dickinson. At Public Works, which if you want to see the details of where they're getting those numbers, I can give you his information.
seems to me like a license to steal with these numbers in there. 1.8 million for that small water system.
Well, like I said, Brad, look into it and get back to us.
Get what? Yeah.
You look into it and get back to the planning commission next time.
Yeah, I will do that. Yeah.
Okay. Jeff has been jumping up and down. Go take it away.
Let's start at the very highest view. On the chart that's on page 4. This is with background in the county's budget, because I've been on that committee, and so I have a little understanding what's going on that way. It appears to me that when I look at the yearly average, and it's moves through the years,
Mhm.
but currently the yearly average and what they're budgeting for 2025 or 2024 is like 1.5 million on REIT 1 and 1.5 million on REIT 2. And then, so when I look at that and think about that and look back at past budgets and look at forward, these numbers here that we have on this table on page 4 look incorrect. Just big picture,
Mhm.
what looks like might have happened is in each of these years, we're adjusting as things happen, but then we get a sum total at the end, and that's not really the number.
The on table 1?
Yeah,
Well, yeah, like
there's, I believe with between my reading and looking through things,
Mhm.
through the budgets. I don't see how we can get 92 million out of REIT 1, REIT 2, and 09 funds
for 92 million for a
for
total.
all those years. I just don't see how
Yeah.
it doesn't, to me, it looks like we posted numbers and then added it when we should have, it should be a moving number through the, for lack of a better word.
Mhm.
I'm just saying, from what I know in the budgets, looking at that report and looking at the most recent one here for November,
Mhm.
you know, for 2023, and then looking at the budget for 2024, I can't see how we get to these numbers on REIT 2 and REIT 1. Good?
Yeah.
I'm not saying you would know, it's not your
Well,
department.
the thing is, the table's reporting what was given.
I hear you.
And with that said, you're saying, huh, what?
I'm saying these tables are inaccurate. My opinion. Someone's gonna have to show me how we got to these.
You know, them's the fighting words with finance people.
I know, I hear you. What do? I don't stick my head in the sand.
Well, you can bring it up to your favorite county commissioner and say, can you please explain to me
Okay,
in great detail?
but as a commissioner here, I'm just saying that doesn't look right.
Mhm.
Based upon this year's budget and what's been coming in and next year's plan, that doesn't stack in my mind. At least on the income side of the revenue side,
Mhm.
so.
So who would be the appropriate person for Jeff here to go talk to?
I can talk to any one of my commissioners or whatever, I'm happy to.
Well, so I get, the finance manager is Jen
Right,
Byerly.
right.
So, she provided all the tables for this information
hear you.
and an explanation of why, what the projections were based off
Right.
of the percentage and stuff, so, and income, so. I mean, I only have that information to go on,
I'm not. As a member, all I can do is bring it up.
Correct. Well, I
And,
mean, you can always ask the question.
yeah, but
And with this
I'm happy to ask the question.
Jen person who answers you to your satisfaction or
Yeah.
not,
And I
keep
can-
in mind that today's the 18th.
so, okay. Rephrase for me what you just said though, so I can get quick, because this will help me in the
Sure.
future know what to ask. So,
I fully agree with that, and I appreciate you doing that. What I'm saying is this. I'm looking at this year's monthly statements the county produces
okay.
for their 09, their sales tax revenues and for their REITs, okay? And that number comes out, like, we'll just take REITs. That comes out to around it's gonna be around 1.5 to 1.6 this year. When you look at the budget, what they budgeted in the REITs for 2024, it looks like 1.5 million in each of the two different REITs. So then I start looking at this and saying, I don't see how we get that high, those totals in that amount of time. You roughly have 4 million, maybe 4.5 million a year coming in, and we only got 6 years to work with. I don't see how we get to 92.
Mhm.
Is there a rollover that's going on here?
I don't know.
So these numbers here are including rollover.
So, but it looks like to me, we're adding each year to each year to each year to each year and coming up with total.
Well, Marissa, did these table data come to you as a Excel spreadsheet from
Yes,
finance?
yes,
But did you pull in the numbers? The spreadsheet obviously has the correct numbers in it, but if you manually created this table,
so
or
let's,
or
I
did
can
you
bring,
pull
I can
in-
bring the table up.
See,
Let's-
see, to me, it looks like we're amending 24 to 25, 25 to 26. And that's giving us this big number at the end. Right.
I guess my point is that so long as you took the Excel spreadsheet data and pulled the Excel spreadsheet into this document, then the numbers should line up
Yes.
rather
But
than you.
it's,
If you, as
but
long
if
as you
Excel,
didn't manually enter them in,
but if the Excel spreadsheet has the wrong parameter on it, it's
Yeah.
gonna be a copy of a copy of a copy.
right?
I'm just saying, it appears to me, I don't know for a fact, but just looking at it and looking at these different factors, it looks like it's not right.
Mhm.
Does that make,
Yes, it does.
okay, want me to go on to the next one? Please.
Let's make sure Marissa's got all of
Yeah.
that down.
Okay, 1 second.
And then all the time.
Take a look here.
How many more you got?
Well, I'll just stop when you tell me to. I'll make some general statements and then we can work backwards from that and say, time out next meeting, that kind of thing.
So what I will do, I will double check, make sure nothing was that we're not adding.
Just call Jeff Carey and ask him what his problem is and answer. And if it's different, fine, I'll admit, hey, I didn't see that.
Could
Okay.
you might have found something or?
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, so I'm gonna step back and make some big picture things. It looks like to me that when I read all our documents, we're supposed to be up on, from Department of Commerce on updating comp plans for, and I'll just say capital facilities, housing, transportation, those are the kind of things I've been looking at to start with. It looks like to me, we got a long ways to go to getting because, for example, the water and sewer department doesn't have a plan. There's no details supporting it.
Mhm.
And I'm not talking about just here, I'm talking about really on back at the shop. I know I have more intimately aware, especially with Belfair and Allen on the
Mhm.
sewer. As a water purveyor, a small water purveyor, the state requires us to either every 6 years or every 10 years have a plan. And I haven't seen ever, in all the times I participated over the last 20 years, ever a plan for our water systems that the county runs.
Mhm.
So we need,
So you're identifying an area for improvement.
yes. So for
It'll make you very,
I know how this goes. So what I'm leading up to is like, take this plan we adopted here, the EIS for Belfair.
Mhm.
Those components are not in this capital facilities plan, generally speaking. As in particular, in there, it calls out so much park acquisition. There is not a single thing in the parks talking about acquiring land in that UGA or that area.
Mhm. Okay, so it mentions it in the EIS, but not in the
Right.
plan.
Like it
Okay.
talks about 95 acres bringing in, and I'm saying, well, okay, so where is that?
And so was the parks plan already the latest parks plan already in progress?
It could
before?
be, the dates are right there,
Okay. Okay,
but you would think that's,
so there needs to be some reconciliation between the EIS and the parks plan.
I'll make it simpler. There needs to be reconciling between the EIS and all the rest of the departments of this county. There,
you know what you're saying.
I know.
You're gonna be very popular with some
Well,
people.
but what do you do? We need,
I agree, an
Yeah.
eagle-eyed constituent can point this out.
I'm not about fight, I don't get my thrills. I'd rather get this through and adopt it and be done. I don't like reading stuff that isn't right and then having to come back and discuss it with people, say. Because I know people worked hard to do this,
Mhm.
and they're saying, hey, it doesn't stack.
You just don't want the embarrassment of the inconvenient truth coming out, and with your name on it.
Probably.
Mhm.
Well, and I've sat through over the last, since 2005. Requesting each planning advisory committee to look in a little more detail. I said, I don't say fix the whole thing, just take one and start working a little bit.
Mhm.
I mean, I testified again in 2020 or 2021 here to the board, the county commissioners, saying our comp plans have yet to take in consideration a whole bunch of factors with respect to, in that case, the sewer. It's not there. So
And their response was?
we agree. Seriously? People look at
All
the
right,
thing.
they agree, but what did they say they were gonna do about it?
Well.
Okay.
They wanted me on, one of them wanted me, okay, Jeff, then serve. Okay, here I am.
Okay.
So that's the big statement there. I'll take one little nitty gritty. There's this issue has different legs and tentacles all through, so I won't get out through the whole thing tonight. But if we take then like parks and we take it and apply it to the way Department of Commerce spells out you're supposed to do capital facilities. We haven't really taken it, like they'll say there's an inventory of parks. Well, it's a list of parks, but the inventory is what makes up those parks.
Mhm.
Because then you know how much money you need to spend on maintenance.
Mhm.
I was surprised when I looked at 2024's budget of 836,000 for parks
Mhm.
for 2024. And unless I'm missing it somewhere, but I don't see it, there's only $10,000 that goes into repairs.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, that's not.
There's 2/3 of it, 612,000 roughly, that's, salaries and benefits. There's like 90,000, it's electricity, water and garbage.
Mhm.
Then I'm concerned about how I want to see our parks maintain, survive, what have you. It's just, I'm concerned we're shortchanging things or turning a blind eye to things. And we'll leave, I think that's enough to probably chew on for a night, probably.
Like I said, you're gonna make some people very happy with it.
Well,
Don't be surprised if they drag you in.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I do think, if there's something in the Belfair EIS that talks about parks and it's not in the parks plan, it does need to be reconciled.
Yes.
So now the way that parks does their inventory though, that's something that needs to be brought up at a parks and like trails, like commission meeting or something like that, or with them, because or else have them come to
Well,
one of our meetings
yeah,
and,
That, years ago, we did that with transportation.
yeah, and I know transportation will be at our comp plan meetings, but parks and trails, because they just updated their plan. I don't know how much involvement they're going to have. I mean, I think it could be something that we identify and include them on, because of course we're gonna have interdepartmental meetings.
Right.
So that could be something to bring up, that we need to reconcile, parks inventory and what's actually
Right.
missing from that. So,
What you're bringing up, Jeff, is we say this, that probably the need for a subcommittee
I know.
to do a bunch of stuff outside of our planned meetings.
I was afraid you were gonna say.
And I'm sure that staff would be really, really happy about that, in addition to everything else they're doing. On the other hand, is that something that needs to be done?
My belief, based upon the laws of the state and the guidance they give us, we can complain about the laws, growth management, however we want. But until those laws change, we kind of have to work within this framework.
True.
I'm saying there's some shortcomings in this county when it comes to capital facilities, and I've said that for almost 20 years. And I've shown them time and time again. There's the board solution was join up, sign up.
Okay, you did that.
I signed up, so now I'm bringing the attention of those types of things. Now, if the committee is saying I should, meet first with these different, departments, like say parks, then that's fine. I mean, I'm game for whatever. All I'm saying is that, it's like when you see your numbers don't match,
Right,
when you see different things happening, it's like, okay, and I told the commission, I'm not, and I told them over and over, I'm used to systems. You don't fix a system overnight all the way through. You say, okay, let's focus on an area.
you need to do the analysis.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm not here to assign blame or,
No, no, you're looking for process improvement.
I wanna help. I wanna make this better. So we'll leave it at that.
So what does staff think?
I mean, I definitely think, Jeff,
Hmm?
I think a lot of what Jeff is saying is valid, and it's, for our purposes, of course, this is a high level overview and it's information they're giving us based on how they're analyzing right now. But I do believe that like you said, with the EIS and the Parks and Trails, reconciling that. And, with our comp plan process, I do believe there's going to be opportunities to bring this up. It's the stuff that he's mentioning. Because it's going to be through each of those departments and then reanalyzing what they're doing, that we're going to get any of the changes that's going to reconcile this, with
Right.
what you believe it should be.
So does the other commissioners have any comments about what we've been discussing?
It was hard to understand a lot of it. That room gives a heck of a lot of echo. I don't know if Will had this difficulty hearing, or Terry had as big a difficulty hearing as I did. But anyway, I need to ask a question too. That table 1, REIT 1 is still got the old data from the document, Marissa, that you sent at 4:00 this afternoon, where you had $34,000 or $34 million in the REIT 1 total. So
This one on the screen should be, but the one I sent you just an hour ago had the wrong one too?
Yeah.
Okay, I will, it should be this here though. Yeah,
Okay.
I must have attached the wrong one, I'm sorry.
You had one that,
Basically, what Jeff has pointed out, just picking the parks, seeing there is a disconnect between what the Belfair EIS says and what this particular thing says. The capital facilities plan. And trying to make sure that we, Mason County, don't run afoul of any state or whoever else who's taking a look at it saying, aha. Does that summarize?
That, and also knowing in the front really what we gotta pay to do something, when, it's really know our finances when we get into them, but yes.
Okay. What do you think, Will?
Let me come off of mute. I like the discussion. I like the fact that we're questioning, so I heard, hey, we have 2 reports and they don't appear at first pass to be saying the same thing. That's a problem. If we have one saying go left and one saying go right, we need to figure out what the correct direction is and follow through with that. So it sounds like we may have a little homework. Also, Bob, did I hear correctly? So the list of projects that's included in this, working appendix A, sort of page, probably 8, 10 through 65. Are those it looks like they're grouped more by function than by priority. But are there any, my question is, are there any projects not on the list?
If all of the projects, capital facility projects, for each system, should be on this list now, except for, transportation has its own element and its own, 6-year program, so we don't include those on here. So
Right.
Public Works takes care of updating that and adopting that, and they've already done that for this period, I believe.
Yeah, it was approved 2 months ago.
Yeah, so we don't include that on, in here.
So when I look at this, I guess my questions would be is, okay, so we have on table 1, we have REIT 1 and 2, and we have the projected budget amounts. And at the top of the previous page, we talk about revenue projections, and we lay out, basically some interest income in that first paragraph. And we anticipate, basically higher than typical returns given the current financial market, higher interest rates at the federal level. I'm guessing, I don't know, that REIT is associated with that. And so my question, I guess, to the finance department is, particularly given that, so the Federal Open Market Committee, FOMAC, last week maintained rates. The dot plot is projecting actually lowering of the federal rate, over probably 1.5 points over the next 18 months, which is well within our 6-year planning period. So how has finance projected REIT 1 and 2 out past, say, 25? Based, are they using these rates? Are they projecting a reduced rate? I guess my question is in table 1, could the REIT numbers out in, say, 26 to 28 be overstated if we're counting on a higher rate of return? Look, folks, my experience here. This is now my 3rd meeting. So, if I'm missing something, please educate. But that would be my question is, could these numbers, I would think our finance department has covered that and they've actually considered lower rates down the road.
Yeah, which so this CIP is supposed to be updated annually with the capital budget. So all of this may change when we update it this next year. So
and then the other question I have is, if you go to page 41 of go to page 41 there. Boom. Let's see, maybe that's a previous one. Scroll the other direction, please.
I know what's going on here.
Yeah, actually, no, that's fine. 20, okay, so scroll down. I'm sorry, right where we had $2.4 million. When I look at the numbers in this, they seem like very round numbers to me. $2.4 million. But frankly, in fiscal year 29, that doesn't bother me. We're 6 years out. It's probably sort of an order of magnitude estimate. Scroll down to page 42, please. This one bothers me. It's an even $1 million, and it's work next year to put lighting in at one of our boat ramps. And it just sort of stands out to me as an even $1 million. It just looks funny to me.
It says that they're gonna spend $1 million in fiscal 24.
Right, and it's a nice even million, and yet we have, scope of this project includes, and we can all read the scope description. This seems like a very round number for something we're doing in 12 months.
and it came exactly like that, 1 million.
Not questioning, but as we sit back and we look at this, I guess my question is, when you look, when you scroll through all the projects and you look at the annual values, you'll see lots of things ending in 5 and 0, and lots of things in the 10 to 50,000 range. And that seems like very round numbers to me. So I guess I'm questioning a little bit, knowing nothing about how these are estimated, how those numbers were generated.
Well, this is getting beyond the scope of what I believe. the
Okay,
committee-
that's fine. Yeah, it's,
But you, as a taxpayer though, yeah, I certainly understand and I've done this sort of thing myself in the past.
yeah.
So unless you get to see the detail pages.
Yeah. Bob, you asked what I thought.
Right.
Some of my thoughts as I looked at it.
I know. Thank you, Will.
Yeah.
But,
Answer Will's.
sure.
The one project, Will, you're not seeing that I know they've talked about that isn't anywhere on here is the enhancement to the North Bay Case Inlet treatment. And the reason I know that is because it's been sitting on the list and I went to various meetings and they've been wanting to do that upgrade. But it's nowhere on it.
What was it?
It's the case, North Bay Case Inlet,
Mm-hmm.
and it's the I'll call it the water reserve treatment area. Originally, 10 years ago, it was like a $2.5 million project. And then I saw in some minutes somewhere here in the last 2 months where the department's meeting with county and the commissioners in one of the briefings that it's gotten all the way up to close to 10. And that got my attention. Again.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is they're always
Well, right now it says 800 grand for engineering.
yes, but a bunch of that's to the 302 improvement because of a fish passage.
Mhm.
And then I'm not sure what the other is.
So they got 2.6 mil right there.
Right.
And it goes out through the end of 29 or
It's-
somewhere in 29.
Right, but I don't doubt that, you know, given inflation, given different things, there'll be more than 2.5 million. But I don't think it's gonna be 4 times what it used to be. But what I'm getting at is, I would have expected to see that somewhere in the next 6 years, because even when Jerry Health was the head of that Public Works, it was discussed that in the near future, because of the amount of effluent going through the plant, that they were going to need to upgrade that treatment to handle a larger number than the 300,000 or 350,000 gallons a day that they originally designed the plant for.
That's not in.
It's not in anything.
Well, there's a page here for the exact thing you're talking about. But the numbers ain't the same.
No. But if you look at the description,
Yeah.
you know, process monitoring, replacement, sure, general sewer, replacement, upgrade, final efficient, the filters, planning, design, you know, those kind of things, but it's not talking about the plant. Anywhere in there.
It talks about plant upgrade, so you would assume that the plant is gonna be upgraded. But you know, Will, you bring up a good point.
Probably what they should have done, and I bet this is the rule they're using, is they've been instructed that whenever they have a number, it's rounded to a tenth, you know.
Well, this is rough order of magnitude
Yeah,
as
that,
opposed to a budgetary versus
I
a
agree,
firm.
but I mean, in the smaller numbers at least, you know, like the parks.
Yeah. Well, there may be some rules out there on how you present data too that.
I'd agree,
Aware of.
the assumptions.
Yep. Yep.
So, as a committee, what do we want to do? Because it's 7:13. How much more do we want to talk about this, and have we as a committee or commission, excuse me, done what staff wants us to do tonight? Or have we gone well beyond?
We got that first.
Well, I mean, there's a level of detail we don't get into
Right.
in this, but I understand, wanting to reconcile, what those different departments are giving us. So the plan is as correct as possible. I mean, like I said, I think we have an opportunity with the comprehensive plan because we're going to be going over the utilities and transportation. The other thing too is that, I haven't seen anything in any previous capital improvement program that, jurisdictions can set, what they want in this plan and to what level of detail. Like, do we want projects that cost so much or, have a lifespan of this long or, combination, but I don't think they've ever set something like that.
No.
So that was something that I was proposing that we think about during this upcoming update. So going forward, we can put that to the departments that we want this level of detail in the CIP, or we want projects that, have this lifespan. But we've never done that before that I know.
This is instituting some accountability.
Right.
It's
Or
it gives the departments more of an outline of what we want for the plan rather than just whatever,
Well, and
Just give us your
remember,
wish list.
Yeah.
remember, one reason for this plan is so the public knows where the county's going.
yes.
And, if I'm correct on the numbers, we don't know.
Well, this is a wish list.
No, I mean,
Right, I'm just saying all the detailed pages, it's a wish list of things.
And
With the
that is what 25 through 29 is,
oh, yeah, no,
that is a wish list. So, I mean, it's supposed to be somewhat, you should
Well,
have
like-
a pretty good idea that that's gonna be able to happen.
Well, see, like with the sewer and the water systems,
Mhm.
where the county has not done plans.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, they haven't. If they would do a reasonable plan, and I'm not saying Shelton is the highlight of the plans, but something that shows where your capital facilities, because all these things on that, at least water and sewer, have lives,
Mhm.
and there was useful lives.
Mhm.
And yes, you can get some beyond those points, but I mean, in the Department of Commerce booklets, for capital facilities and that kind of thing, they talk about these plans should have a kind of a hierarchy to them. In other words, you can have a summary for the general public, but you should have they should be supported by detail.
Mhm.
Not necessarily that the public sees, but it's
Mhm.
kind of like a footnote, that sees such and such plan of, whatever.
Yeah,
You're talking good governance.
Yeah.
which, I mean, there's several, I mean, that's all public works. A lot of it's public works.
Yes.
So, I mean, and there is, plans in there to do water plans and the new. So that plan.
I know.
I mean, that's.
I'm
all-
only laughing because with Richard, I've talked to him, his predecessor, I talked to him, I mean, all the way to Doug Michaud. I mean, way back in 05, I've talked to him about getting this detail so that the public can see, because there's
Mhm.
always been, at least like with North Bay Case Inlet,
Mhm.
it's always been a hotly contested thing.
Mhm.
And because it's never been really communicated to the public.
Mhm. Yeah.
Anyway,
Anything else?
one last thing. When I read that, it also says we should be pulling from the other agencies to facilitate our plan. What I mean by that is like PUD 1, PUD 3.
For their district plans,
yeah.
stuff like that.
I go on their site and I cannot find any plan for PUD 3.
Yes, PUD 1 has I've found more information for PUD 1. Now, I will say though, there's gonna be more on the district plans in the elements.
Okay,
So I do plan on having more on the district
Okay.
plans, so. So these are mainly projects coming out of our budget.
yes, see, my mind works like
Mhm.
this. With Shelton Hills, we needed a substation. There's a big, how to do with that.
Yeah,
But then with this new 200 thing going here behind the college, with this 395 or 365 down at Coffee Creek and then 295 over at Angle, nobody's talking about a substation, yet that's more connections
mhm,
than it was proposed over, you know, at
Mhm.
Shelton Hills. I'm not saying which is right. I'm just looking at consistency of communication,
mhm.
saying, well, if you needed it for 800, wouldn't you need it for
1200.
Right,
Mhm.
you see, and so. And then I'll stop, I won't.
Well, in effect, you're saying, PUD 3, so we haven't heard from you lately. What have you been doing and what's your
Sure.
facilitizing for all these homes? Hello, you know.
Oh, by the way, we have this thing in here where we do this little climate thing. Guess what that means?
Mhm.
That means electricity.
Mhm.
On the
That
cars.
means what?
Electricity. Meaning, if we're gonna do this whole thing about reducing carbon and we're going to go to more electric vehicles, then damn it, we better do some planning. Because the grid's not, that we got isn't gonna hold,
Mhm.
Least of all is where you're gonna get the juice from.
yeah,
Well, they will definitely be involved when
Cool.
we're,
I'm happy.
they will definitely be involved.
I'll shut up now.
I was asked the question and seeing what happens.
Yep.
Well, I mean,
That's sort of what I was thinking of it too.
Yeah.
don't we get the vast majority of our electricity from hydro, truly carbon-free anyway, right?
Right,
I haven't seen the percentage. But getting to the point though, as we're getting, is at 7:20. We were given 3 options by the staff. Number 1, approval as requested, 2, denial, or 3, remand. I don't know, I'm contemplating option 3, but how is that gonna affect? If we put it on, if we ask for these details that we've been at, that Will and I have been asking for,
So, okay, so I will say some of the details you will not get because they're details that are gonna come from those specific departments. And not the level of detail that we would include in this high level overview.
And we probably don't have a need to know.
I do need to double check that REIT number and see if it was incorrectly added. Water system plans, like I said, they have plans to do it. I know they need it. They're in the
you said
plan.
water system plans?
Yes, there are some systems that they are in this information they gave me, they are planning on developing plans. I mean, I can't say whether it's going to happen or not, or something's going to change in a budget, or, you know, there's another priority going to come up. That this is just them giving me their wish list. And we have to look at it and, you know, it's a good thing to look at and show up to other meetings and be like, hey, what about this that you planned this year? Why isn't this happening? I mean, you know, it's a good thing to put, you know, pressure, well, not pressure, I don't want to say pressure, but to make accountable,
Yeah.
you know, and, you know, or to at least get answers to questions of why it's not happening. Is it a logical explanation for why it's not happening? We should have that, and be able to tell the public, like, so say if we have this plan for 2024, 2029, and we said, you know, in this update, we said, you know, this plan was planned for, say, 2025, and, you know, when we go and update it, we need to say whether we, you know, we have that plan and that information from the plan. Or if we don't have it, you know, we should have some explanation that makes logical sense why the county didn't go through with it, you know.
That's another big piece that's missing in this is that okay, I get it that we don't hit plans for all kinds of reasons.
Mhm.
But there's been no ever, at least in my time around it, I never seen accountability the other way saying, okay, we plan to do this, but we did not.
Mhm.
Now, we had a little bit of that in tip cap because, you know, we had the annual tip that we had to keep improving. So they always kept coming up. And so it got discussed,
Mhm.
but I don't recall that in any of the other entities. I mean, I never hear it from the sheriff's office. I don't hear it from parks. I don't hear it from a whole bunch of things.
Mhm.
Hi.
All right, so to kind of answer Brad's question there, we can approve, we can reject, or we can defer. So if
Or
we,
or it was remand.
or remand, excuse me.
Yeah.
Remand. So if we remand, what's that gonna do?
Remanding, I mean, remanding is going to get me to double check the REIT numbers, make sure those are correct. The Belfair EIS and the park stuff, that's, I can't do anything about that right now. That's
Yeah,
gonna
but
be,
Jeff here can,
yeah. That
do-
could be something I could note in there, that there needs to be a reconciliation, in the parks, in the park section, that there needs to be a reconciliation between the Belfair EIS and the parks plan. It could be something we note, so we remember to bring it up. But, you know, the actual reconciliation is not gonna happen until, you know, Parks is made aware and they, you know,
They're not aware yet.
yeah. So, and then, Parks, you talked about the Parks inventory and reconciling that as well, and that's gonna be another thing to bring up with Parks, you know,
Charter's called the director.
so.
Maybe friend.
you can always crash their party.
I believe me, I want to help them.
Mhm. Fair enough, no.
I don't have any intent to slow them down. I want to see them help, but it's, you know, it's like hell trying to figure out.
You find out who the chair is and communicate with that individual and say, hey, by the way,
And I can figure that one out too. I'm kind of more, you know, like,
easy enough, just have staff tell you.
yeah,
Are you talking about the commission or the?
I
Commission
don't know.
chair?
I was talking more about the director. He's
Yeah.
talking more about the commission.
Well, whatever the heck the protocol is.
Yeah, whatever.
Well,
And if there's a proper protocol, I'm happy to do it, whatever that is.
John Taylor, but I don't know how long he's, I have to figure that out, because yeah, and last time I knew it was John Taylor. I want to make sure I don't give you like the wrong person.
That's okay. They'll either say they are or they aren't.
Yeah.
If they're smart, they'll say they're not. And then we'll move on.
All right.
But
so-
it sounds like, from what Brad's asking, that we probably at least need to do a quasi remand.
Yeah. Didn't sound like everyone's comfortable with saying, approve, so
No,
in that case, we'll just remand. And if that's not gonna cause, irreparable pain to staff or the whole
So-
process.
We bring it back in January. We just have to make sure we get adopted before April, because that's our
That's your drop dead.
commerce,
do you
you
mind,
know, so.
as a committee, do you mind if I talk to one of my commissioners about, okay, you said this to me. Which one of these different ones do you really want to focus on?
Mhm.
And see if I get an answer. Does anybody have a problem me talking to the commission?
I don't. That would be, Randy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm happy to talk to anyone.
We'll start with Randy and see what happens.
Yeah, okay.
Still, right, there's still three, but Randy or North, whatever his name is, and Kevin Schutte. And then, who's the third female? Or
Sure.
was there a change on
Correct.
January 1st? I can't remember. I don't know if the starters changed.
No,
The
you
real
got
change.
So, okay, before we make a decision here, so I've got to be very clear. So, like I said, I can revise, or I can double check on the REIT to make sure
Right.
that's the correct numbers. Is there anything else You know, I mean, the thing is, it's whether you talk to the departments or not.
Yeah.
We're not gonna
I
get
got-
changed
I
plans
got it.
before.
I know where
so
I'm going.
Okay.
Let's just start with this. At the very highest level, if we don't have our numbers at the big picture right, we're not gonna have our numbers at the smaller picture.
Well, this feeds into something even bigger that goes to the commissioners, which is a really big number. Right?
Right? But I'll be happy to talk to Commissioner Netherland and ask him, okay, you know, I brought this up over the years. We can't instantly overnight, you know, change everything and fix everything. So where do you want me to focus? I could focus anywhere. I mean, there's opportunity every department. Every department.
You know, you're gonna make yourself very popular.
Hey, death is a wonderful thing.
You must watch the Terminator.
No, no more taxes.
I'm just thinking that, you know, your conversations in the past and you said I'll be back and here you are.
Yeah. Yeah,
In your best Austrian accent.
yeah, that's right. But I would say, we're still saying, we're not saying, I mean, we could say no, but that's like leaving it high and dry.
The problem is we can't say no because we have a April drop dead,
No, yeah, I understand that, but
so,
I'm saying you got three options.
right.
None of us are saying to approve it.
Mhm.
If we say no, we don't have time anyway.
No, they'll just come back and we'll have to,
And then I'll get to read this thing again and say, it's making it hard to want to approve it.
You get
So if they can improve the when we see them, like Will brought up the $1 million even. The numbers that I saw that were $80,000 for a window carpet and a heat pump. It seemed ridiculously high. It makes me distrust all of the numbers when I see some numbers ridiculously high. I don't know if you all feel that same way. But
No, I-
I just don't want to see, you know, the government spending, giving them a blank check. You know, I mean, maybe learn to tighten their belts a little bit, like we all have to do with our own household bills. But that's
well,
my
I'm not familiar enough with
concern.
how things go in the county to be,
Yeah.
have a warm fuzz or not personally.
Yeah, I'm familiar with the capital facility side a little bit. I've been around that for a long time,
Mhm.
and so as a rule of thumb, and Brad, I agree with you. As a rule of thumb, when you find one error, there's usually more than one. You're not so lucky just to pick the one out, and that's it. So. But we got these three choices of decision. I'm personally more the remand at this point. I think that's the only option.
Okay, so the process would be then that we remand it.
It would have to,
Marissa goes back and talks to whomever.
I need specifics though on remanding though, because there's things that I can do and there's things that I'm not gonna be able, you know, it's going to be a longer conversation.
Let me phrase it a different way.
Okay.
Anything you can do to improve this through a remand, whatever it is gonna be better than what we got. How's that? That gives you free rein, but I would focus on the
Yeah.
big numbers first,
Yeah,
because if that's off, everything goes to hell in a handbasket.
yeah.
Mhm.
So I will get those first tables as close as you can and start there.
Mhm.
I don't know if you agree.
That's what the committee, or I mean, the commission says.
Yeah.
I'd be just the chair.
Okay, what's the commission thing? The rest of the commission? Brad, Terry?
I think we should remand also and just clean it up the best that we can and then revisit it.
Yeah, I mean, hadn't changed my mind from what I said earlier. That's why I said suggested remanding.
What do you think, Will?
But for specifics to give Marissa, I guess the specific examples that I mentioned were that heat pump and carpet and windows for those buildings. I can't remember which one it was. There were 11 buildings, and then the $1 million for one boat launch that Will brought up.
There's multiple, launch.
Worth five. Go ahead, sorry.
It was multiple docks. It just said dock.
Yeah.
Docks.
Yeah. Multiple docks is what yeah. Then there was another boat launch besides that had $5,000. So what's the difference? Are these Cadillacing on one boat launch and Pintoing on the $5,000 boat launch? So
Now you're dating yourself, Brad.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing.
yes, I am. Yeah. So,
Okay, Will, what do you think?
I think a remand is a reasonable approach. If I was a committee member, except, collectively, I'm hearing no one comfortable, disapprove, frankly, I think is not, appropriate for staff. I think in between and trying to work it as a team is a solution. That's what I'm hearing a remand is, basically go ahead.
You want a motion?
Yeah, I think we need a motion, so.
I make the motion to remand the capital facilities plan. And is there a date? Is this
The
what?
financing plan for the capital facilities.
To the January meeting? Or what are we?
Well, I was trying to identify this first. What am I?
The
remanding?
2024 to 2029 CIP.
So I make a motion to remand the 2024, excuse me, 2024, okay, through 2029. Capital facilities finance portion. Back to staff.
And okay, and does that sound good to you guys?
Starting point.
Is that
It's your decision, it's not mine.
well, no, we want to make sure that what we're telling you to go do or suggest you go do.
Well, my feeling is that we need to make sure the big numbers are correct. And then I can, on some of the smaller numbers, I can help to, I know Brad's concerned about, it'll probably be me helping to connect Brad to that information and the people who have that
Right,
information.
which is what we discussed.
Yes,
Previously.
yeah.
All right, so it's been moved and who gets to second it, Terry?
I'll second it.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded. We've had discussion. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right,
Beautiful.
motion carries. So, looks like we're gonna have staff do a little bit more work than they had anticipated in January.
Well, we didn't have a meeting scheduled, so that's probably good now.
Well, we had a meeting, but we didn't have anything.
We didn't have anything on it
Yeah.
yet, so.
Surprise, now we have an agenda. Okay, is there anything else anyone wants to bring up other than something?
I just appreciate, the commission taking the time at least to listen to what I had to say, because I know it can be boring.
No, this is not boring, especially when you're gonna strip orange.
I know Mac was very sad to miss out on it, so.
I'm sorry?
Mac was upset that he's not gonna be participating in it.
Yeah, I'm sure.
No, nothing prevents them from dialing in.
No.
So
No, done the
I'll
answer.
certainly take his advice and guidance. So, okay, with that, should we adjourn the meeting?
I'm making
Yes.
a motion.
All right, so Brad, you wanna second it?
Sure.
Hey, all those in favor adjourn the meeting, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you,
And
guys.
next-